Hi everybody, my name is Amelia and welcome to the channel. So it is almost the end of 2025 and so I'm going to be showing you guys just the decks that I used throughout 2025, not all of them, just the ones that were most used. So there's not a huge list here because in 2025 I didn't really dive into tarot as much as I'd hoped. In fact, in 2025 my spiritual journey took a backseat and you guys probably saw that given my hiatus from the channel. But yeah, long story short, didn't do a lot of reading for myself. I did have a lot of client readings, but I kind of gravitated towards the same decks over and over and over for those readings. So anyway, let's just go ahead and dive right in. And before we do, just to let you guys know, my name is Amelia and I am a tarot reader, psychic. I have my own tarot business. I have an Instagram and everything you guys can check out. And if you guys want to learn anything more about me, I have all the links down in the description. But let's go ahead and start with my most used decks for clients. So for client readings, I really don't have that many decks that I feel drawn to or I feel called to, I guess I should say. And I tend to go for the same decks over and over and over again. And my tried and true client deck is the Ethereal Visions Illuminated Tarot by Matt Hughes. Now there is a second edition, but that came out after I got this one, and I really like this one, so I haven't felt a need to get the second. But there is a second edition with a bit more diversity, a different color palette, kind of, I think, if you guys were interested. I am not a huge fan of the backs, to be honest. I'm not into the green and on purple, especially because I just don't feel like it goes with the deck. But, yeah. And yes, there are tons of reversals. I read reversals. I love the foiling. A lot of people really love the foiling on these decks, which is one reason I like them and I think they do well. But I also think this deck is just nice and pastel. It's not scary. And one thing I've learned about other people being a tarot reader, like, so I meet a lot of people. I do tarot readings for clients, like, all the time. And one thing I've learned is people do not want the creepy, spooky, scary decks. Like, any deck that is all black tends to be off-putting for a lot of people. Any deck that has spooky imagery scares people. People get very, very nervous about tarot. And just to, like, break down the misconceptions people have to kind of get rid of that idea that tarot is demonic, I essentially pull out sweeter decks that are a bit more gentle, just kind with my clients, and that have kind appearing imagery, even for like the hardest cards, you know. I love how pastel this deck is and how soft, and honestly, as a reader, it's very gentle. It's very kind to all my clients, so that's one reason I use it all the time, and it's just a really good versatile deck as well to use for others. I do find shuffling can be kind of hard. It's very big for my hands. I already like mixed one up. But yeah, it's just kind of a lot for me. But that can, you know, that's neither here nor there. I think I just have smaller hands maybe. But it's been well loved. It was my second ever deck, and it's always been a great reader for clients. Now, this next deck is actually kind of shocking for me regarding clients. Like, I'm shocked that I gravitated towards it for clients, and that is the Mind's Eye Tarot by Olivia Rose. I got this deck, and I don't remember when, but I got the deck. I think I have a video, like, going through it on my channel, maybe. And what's interesting about it is it's a very luxurious, beautiful deck, but I didn't really go for it for myself. So it has this like linen cardstock, it has the beautiful gold gilding, but I didn't go for it because all the eyes creep me out, even though it's called the Mind's Eye Tarot. I don't know, the art is beautiful, it's moody, but the eyes really creep me out, and I don't know what it was. I just wasn't drawn to it myself. And so I one day decided to take it with me for client readings. I honestly think I did it at an event. And at the event, I had a few decks people could choose from, and I let people pick their deck, and a lot of people gravitated towards this. If it wasn't this one, it was my traditional RWS, but people really gravitated toward it, and it was such a solid reader. It did so well for clients. I was actually shocked, because I wasn't getting the most impressive readings with it. And so yeah, I just started using it for clients. It's been an amazing client reader. People are obsessed with the artwork. They love it so much. They love the gold, and they're not creeped out. So like my whole earlier statement about people not liking dark, moody, creepy decks, this is like the exception. For some reason, everybody is totally fine with this one. They're not creeped out at all. They're like on board. They love it. I think it's because the artwork is so pretty, and because it is pretty gentle, all things considered, as a reader. It's not harsh. It doesn't beat you up with like really hard truths. And I think people really value that. And I think also a lot of people are just obsessed with the gold. It is a wonderful, beautiful deck. And as far as like client readings, this is where I've used it the most. However, recently I've been incorporating it into my nighttime readings, my bedtime routine, which has changed a lot. I will have a video up at some point about my updated tarot practice and tarot routine, but this deck has made its way into my personal practice as well, which is also surprising to me. But like I said, I'll go into that at some other point, but it's been like literally like one of my most used decks this year, and it's honestly impressive. I have a hard time sometimes showing all of my decks because I don't want this channel to be just looking at decks and, promoting consumerism and overconsumption. I feel like that's a huge problem in the industry. And so this is kind of tricky, but I did want to show you guys my most used decks, given that there's not that many, and, 2025 was a kind of a crazy year. So, of course, this one will probably make the list every single year, and it's my classic RWS. This one is from Magic Seer. I don't even know if it's available on Amazon anymore. My tuck box is like wearing down. This is my go-to deck. You can see how worn and loved those edges are. Look at that. They're discolored, they're frayed. I don't even know what's happening, but yeah, just classic RWS. I use this for clients. I use this for me. Honestly, probably my favorite deck. It always will be. The RWS system's one of my favorites. My cards are kind of nasty. Look at that. There's grime on them. That's hilarious. Love that. So anyway, yeah, I use this deck all the time. This is my go-to. If I, like they say there's like desert island decks, this is my desert island deck. Like this is the deck that if I had no other decks, this is the one I would want. And it's just the classic RWS. I actually don't even like how bright it is. I prefer the colors of the Centennial, to be honest with you, but I don't have the big Centennial, and I honestly think if I bought the big Centennial, it might outperform this one. And the thing is, this one doesn't have amazing card stock by any means. Like, it's just classic deck. Like, there's nothing exciting about it. Honestly, I want to get my Centennial. I only have the Centennial in a 10, but I am craving the big one because I genuinely think, like, I like this faded artwork, but I love the way the Centennial feels. Like, the cardstock feels better to me. I feel like I would like the muted colors so much more. But I don't use the Centennial very much because it is just a little tin deck, and I only use it like with traveling or when I have spontaneous readings with friends. So yeah, I'm not entirely certain, but maybe that's something I'll get. I don't know. I don't want duplicates exactly in my collection. But at the same time, I feel like I would use the Centennial so much more. But then if I did that, would I use the little one? I guess I would, because I'd be traveling with it. I don't know. Anyway, regardless, this one comes to client readings all the time, and it's one that I grab for myself a lot as well. So, It's also used in like a deck study, just used all the time, well loved, kind of shows. Okay, the next deck I'm going to be showing is not a tarot, and we are entering the realm of decks that I only use for myself. So this one should come also as no surprise, I feel like, for a lot of you guys. The Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Archetypes. Now, I had a video where I was trying to figure out what, like, this or that. Like, I pinned some decks against each other and was asking what I should be purchasing, and I mentioned in that video the Alchemy deck by Kim Cran's. And I never got the Alchemy deck, but it is something I'm still thinking about. My biggest setback, or like the reason I'm waiting, is because I think the Alchemy deck is going to compete with this one. Now, people said that they're technically like their own thing, that you can use them, you know, separately, and they each hold their own very well. So that is appealing to me, but I just haven't done it. But the this deck, I love it and I don't. I don't like how many boxes I have to do, like to open to get it, but I don't want to store it in the circle box on the shelf because the circle box just doesn't sit right the way I have my deck sorted. And the circle, it being a circle isn't really that bad. It's that the cards stick together, so it shuffles in clumps. It's not ideal. I'm also tempted to edge mine in black, but at the same time, I don't know. I've been wanting to edge decks, and it's crazy because, like, I only have 2 decks that are edged. One looks gorgeous edged that way. The other one, I'm like, did I make a good choice? It also wasn't the best edging, so I'm like, I feel like I scarred myself now. But anyway, this deck. So, this is not the Alchemy. The Archetypes, because goodness, I was talking about the Alchemy. The Archetypes deck, I didn't think I would like it because it's a collage deck. I hate collages, if you guys know. I don't hate them, but I don't like them. I like collages, like, you know, scrapbooking, which is what I do. But I don't mind if other people do scrapbooking. I love to see scrapbooking videos. But when it comes to art like this, it's just not for me. It's not my forte. For some reason, this deck gets the exception, and I think it has more to do with the guidebook and the fact that it's like archetypes, and less to do with the art. Now, the art does look good with my soul deck, being the Crow Tarot, and it does look good with the Mind's Eye Tarot, Cosmic Tarot. There's a lot of decks that I have that looks really, really nice beside. So it does look good in that context, but it's not necessarily something that I would choose, to be honest. And I don't know if I want more collage decks. Like, I feel like this is the only one that really makes sense for me. Which, again, I always come back to, is the Crow Tarot partially collage? Because I think it is. Anyway, this deck speaks to me on a soul level. It tears me to pieces. It's such a solid reader. It doesn't shuffle well, so I have no idea how I always pull the right card, but it does so well at communicating with me, and it all really is the guidebook. This guidebook is incredible. I have noted some things. I was, like, mildly annotating it for a while, taking notes. And then I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Whenever I use this deck, I'm just going to use the guidebook every time I use it. Therefore, it's never used in client readings. It's only ever used for me. And it's my most used Oracle deck. It really is. And I am very picky about Oracle. I want to start using Oracle more, but I haven't been. And this is my exception to the rule in many, many ways. And, yeah, it's like one of my most used decks for myself in 2025, especially because when I was doing readings for myself, which wasn't often, I would only do really big, potent readings, and so this one would come out. My next most used deck for myself this year, and, this is a weird, because really, this has been the deck, and the Crow Tarot too, but I didn't show the Crow Tarot because I don't know, I just didn't. I feel like when I think about the decks I used the most this year, the Crow Tarot, I only used it like very specifically, like not even once a month. Like honestly, I think I only grabbed the Crow Tarot and the Archetypes Tarot, or not Tarot, Oracle, maybe 5 times this year for myself, like 5 big readings. And the Archetypes one that I just showed, sorry, I guess if I'm talking about it, I should have it up here. The Archetypes Oracle, I keep calling it a tarot. The Archetypes Oracle, I started using it a lot more recently as I started to get back into my practice. And this one, you know, I used a lot for client readings, so that's why I mentioned these, and I mentioned the Crow Tarot, but I haven't shown it. But the most used tarot deck for myself as I started to get back into tarot is the Spacious Tarot. Oh my god, I think I have a slight love affair with this deck. Like, I feel bad for all my other decks, but the Spacious Tarot just does something for me. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I did not get it. It was on my wish list for so long, and I didn't get it because I think mostly due to finances. I wasn't really buying indie decks. I didn't have the money to do it, and my collection has been very, like, small and well-maintained, and, you know, I often talk about consumerism and stuff on this channel, so you guys know that it's a huge thing I consider, and I don't want to have an overwhelming collection. I can't even fathom 100 decks. I don't know how many I have. I think I have maybe 30, and I feel like that's, like, super overwhelming. So, anyway, the, Spacious Tarot, though, I'm so glad I purchased it. I have a deep dive on the channel. I will say I don't love the cardstock. It is also kind of clumpy, kind of difficult. Not as bad as Archetypes. Like, this feels great compared to Archetypes, actually, but, you know. Anyway, I just love this. It's so gentle with me, and it's what I needed, and I feel like it speaks to my inner child, and everything's reversed, so I guess I'll flip it around. It speaks to my inner child, in the best of ways. It's so soft and sweet. I don't know. I'm really drawn to this deck. There are some simple cards, but overall, like, I don't know, it's cozy. It's so cute. And I'm not a huge, like, cutesy deck person. I like, I guess, adultier decks? That sounds weird, but, like, decks that are more serious and more esoteric. And this one's not any of those things. It is just quaint, friendly, approachable. I've used it for clients, but I prefer it for myself. So I have used it in client readings. It does do well in client readings, but this is the deck that I've been using for myself this year. And I honestly feel like this is probably the best deck to be using for myself this year because I have felt so disconnected from my spiritual practice. So removed from spirit this year. And it's so crazy because at the same time, I'm so overwhelmingly happy that I've been so grounded and I've been so involved in reality. Like, this has been a year of family, friends, community, and that's been wonderful. It has not been a year for spirit. My year for spirit was 2024 and a little bit of 2023. And 2025 has been the year of community and friendship and groundedness in reality. I think I don't know if I posted on TikTok or not, but I posted a video where I talked about the connection between reality and the mystical. You need to have a balance of both. And I felt out of balance recently because I've been leaning too far into the material world, but you should have a balance of both. And I love that I'm pregnant right now. I'm going to be having a child. I've been thinking so often about the birth of my child and that's coming next year and raising a child. And it's a whole new journey for me. And I feel like this deck has been there supporting me as I open this new chapter of my life, as I work through this transition from being all about me and being so involved in spirit and my professional life and personal endeavors, and now I have a chance to be more present with reality and to be more connected in a community way. So, I don't know, this deck, it was there for me, you know, like it carried me through 2025, and I'm so forever thankful that I got it. I didn't get it until the last second. It was one of the last few decks being sold. I believe it's out of print now. At least last I heard. But I'm so happy I did, because this is the deck that has gotten me through it and has helped me maintain a relationship with spirit as I shift my focus to other avenues, if you will. Okay, so that's pretty much all the ones I used. I mean, I literally only used these decks for myself, pretty much. I didn't really use anything else except for Crow Tarot, I know, but, and then I had my main client decks. I really didn't dive into tarot much at all, the way I wanted to. But I do have one more honorable mention, and it's honorable because I haven't used it a ton over the course of the year, but I've used it a lot the last 2 months. And that is the Endless Tarot. So, I have a video going through this. I got this deck in October? I think that's when it shipped. And it's just been amazing. It's really been a go-to deck the last few months. It's simple, honestly. It's easy to read. It's moody. I feel like it's perfect for these, like, colder days and, like, the colder months. And again, all my stuff's upside down. Is this just how I roll? I don't know. It's been wonderful. It's been a solid reader. It gets me thinking. It's very thought-provoking. I've used it with its guidebook a couple times, and I think the guidebook is super helpful. I'm not a huge guidebook person, but this is the deck I think that was like the start of making me like read guidebooks more, because I have never been a guidebook person. And so this deck has really pushed me to like actually read guidebooks. Like these authors aren't writing them for funsies. They're doing it for a reason. And so this is kind of encouraging me to like actually use them and figure out why things are depicted the way they are. But you don't need the guidebook to read with this deck. Like, you can easily just pull a few cards and do a reading, and I've been doing it a lot with myself, especially as I've been doing my bedtime practice and kind of incorporating tarot into my daily routine a bit more. And so this deck has certainly gotten me out of the tarot funk, and I'm very appreciative of that. I can't say it's been like a transformative, overwhelming, powerful speaker. It hasn't done that for me yet, but it's solid. You know, like it does what it needs to do. It's honest without being brutal, and it's, again, been pulling me out of a tarot slump, which is something that I really needed. So, yeah, I've been really enjoying the Endless Tarot, and you're probably going to see it in a few more deck videos because it's been a recent go-to. More so than my Spacious Tarot, actually, which is kind of exciting and interesting. Alright, and that is it for this video. Again, I didn't use that many decks in 2025. This is kind of what you see is what happened. I mean, sparingly, I've used others. I had different decks for altar cards. I've used Tarot of the Divine for clients. I've used White Newman for clients. You know, there's a few decks that I've branched out and used in general here and there, but these were my workhorses this year. And obviously honorable mention, but this one's been used almost daily since I got it. So, you know, tarot is, like any spiritual practice, is something that fluctuates and changes, and how often you do it will change based on what's going on in your life. But yeah, overall, this is what I used in 2025, and next year I am hoping to use a few more often, especially decks I've been putting on the back burner for so long. But obviously, with having a child, I have no idea how that's going to look. So, we'll get there when we get there. But anyway, thank you again, guys, for watching today's video, and until next time, I will catch you later.
Thank you.